Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has been released for over 2 years now, but many mysteries still lie within the Pizzaplex. There's the mystery of the Blob, Burn Trap, and the identity of Gregory. But one of the biggest mysteries that still hasn't been answered is the involvement of the Afton family, more specifically if one of them was responsible for the creation of the Pizzaplex and if any of them are still alive. By now I'm sure you've heard the popular theory by MatPat that Miss Afton created the Pizzaplex and is in charge, but what if I told you that another member of the Afton family is not only alive but is still influencing the pizzeria? Well, in this video I'm going to go over how Michael Afton might still be alive in Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Let's get started. First, let's go over Michael Afton's appearances throughout the franchise. Following the timeline that's most believed in by the fandom, we first see Michael in Fnaf 4 as the main character who is facing hallucinations of the nightmare animatronics. I know it's been believed that the crying child is actually the main character, but there's plenty of evidence supporting it's instead Michael. But moving on, we then see him in Fnaf 2 as the security guard on night 7. Sometime later we see him again as the main security guard in the first Fnaf game. Then we see him in the underground bunker in Fnaf's sister location where he is searching for his sister Elizabeth Afton. But at the end of that game we see Michael be scooped by this machine, which results in Ennard using his body and controlling him, until Michael Afton throws Ennard up. But instead of this killing him, he actually survives and becomes immortal, as we learn from his monologue.
But something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows.
We then see him in Fnaf 3 once more as a security guard as he looks for his father, and at the end of that game he burns down the pizzeria but manages to escape. We finally see him one last time in Fnaf 6, but this time as the manager of the pizzeria who's in charge of the way everything works. He lures the final 4 possessed animatronics left and burns down the pizzeria one last time, but this time he burns with it, and with this Michael Afton's story ended. But what if it didn't? What if Michael Afton is still alive? What if he actually lives in the Pizzaplex, and what if he's actually in control of the Pizzaplex as a co-CEO? Now I know that may seem far-stretched, but I think this can be assumed using plenty of evidence. For starters, this room is found within the Pizzaplex, and it's a one-for-one replica of Michael's room from Fnaf's sister location. Many fans have theorized that this is actually the exact same room, meaning that the Pizzaplex was built over the Afton family's house from Fnaf 4. But I don't think this is the case, as that would mean the Fnaf 4 house was built over the Fnaf 6 pizzeria, which wouldn't make sense timeline-wise, and there are no other items or things from this house. But why would the Pizzaplex make a room from the Afton family's house if no one would ever see it or know about it? Well, the consensus is that it was for Michael. The TV even works, and there's real popcorn, which to me would imply he's been there frequently or that he even lives there. In this room there's also this cryptic message. When decoded it reads a long message, but I want to focus on only the beginning. It reads, "Break and mend, I built the breath." Mend is defined as rebuilding and to restore. Building the breath is referring to giving something life. So to me, this is Michael telling us that he created the Pizzaplex as a whole, and more specifically created the animatronics. He gave them life. There's more to this message that I'll get back to later in this video, but it's obvious that this room belongs to Michael. And moving on, let's look into 2 more pieces of evidence, starting with Rockstar Row from Security Breach. Now this is a small museum with different artifacts from the past Fnaf games or pizzerias. We see things like animatronic parts, posters, drawings, and cardboard cutouts of different characters. These are supposed to be fun and nostalgic displays, but 2 displays specifically are very interesting. This display has 2 artifacts from Fnaf 4. These are 2 toys from the crying child's room, except that this room isn't the crying child's, it's actually Michael's. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we play as Michael in Fnaf 4, meaning these toys are his. Who else in the entire franchise would want to display something from the Afton family house if the artifacts don't directly belong to them? I think this is Michael Afton displaying these toys as a form of nostalgia for him and as something to remember. But this next display are cardboard cutouts of Ennard, Shadow Bonnie, and Nightmare Balloon Boy. Now all 3 of these characters have only been seen by Michael. Ennard was inside of his body at one point, Shadow Bonnie was an illusion in the Fnaf 2 pizzeria, and Nightmare Balloon Boy was a hallucination in Fnaf 4. Again, Michael was the only one who knew about these animatronics, so how could they display them without his help? Now why he decided to display animatronics that haunted him and tortured him is a question that I can't really answer, but what I know for certain is that it would have been impossible without Michael. But looking at the last piece of evidence, it comes from Fnaf AR, and it's from a scrapped email. Now it can be debated if cut content is canon or not, but for the sake of the video I'm going with it is canon, as it's an important piece of evidence. In this cut content we actually see an email going to the email address of M. Afton, which I think we can all agree is Michael Afton, meaning he had involvement with either the shipping company or someone else that worked at the pizzeria at one point. This This also confirms that he's not only alive, but the fact that he was also involved with the creation of the Pizzaplex. But now that I've gone over the most compelling evidence in support that he's alive, I'm now going to go over how this would all make sense narratively. Michael's entire journey throughout the franchise was bringing down Fazbear's Entertainment and his father, Springtrap. He's successful as he burns down most new locations and burns down all remaining possessed animatronics, so why would he agree to open a new location that is much larger? While using parts of MatPat's theory, I think that Michael and his mother reunited after the Fnaf 6 fire and agreed to open a new location the right way, a way where no one would be hurt and the pizzeria would genuinely be a place where kids could have fun. That's why Michael has his own room, decorated parts of the pizzeria, and why he was in contact with other employees. He's the co-CEO of this new Fazbear's Entertainment, and things were going perfectly until William Afton appears again in the form of Glitchtrap. We know he takes the mind of Vanessa and starts trying to come back into the real world. This whole incident was brought to the attention of the higher-ups, but it was shut down and they even continued to use this virus. So what if this was Miss Afton shutting it down as she knew it was her husband trying to come back and she encouraged the idea? We know the CEO, or Miss Afton, made Vanessa head of security breach even when being informed she was never qualified enough. And like MatPat's theory, her main goal was to bring back her family, and a way she did that was by making Burntrap. But obviously Michael would never be okay with this, so Miss Afton hid everything from him. But eventually when he found out, he would try to stop his father once more and bring down Fazbear's Entertainment once more. Remember that message I talked about earlier in the video? Well, the rest of the message are actually instructions on how to escape and defeat the animatronics. It reads dodge, duck, flash, shoot, crawl, run, crush the vile band. These are all things we see Gregory do throughout Security Breach, and Michael helps us a lot more in the background. Many people assume that Glamrock Freddy wasn't affected by the virus as he booted into safe mode before it happened, and that the reason he booted into safe mode was because he saw Gregory. But what if it was Michael who booted him into safe mode as he knew the virus wouldn't be able to affect him, and as a result, Glamrock Freddy helps Gregory throughout the entire game. Also, in the final boss fight where you defeat Burntrap, these buttons are conveniently there that allow you to burn down the pizzeria. But what if it was Michael who made these buttons in an attempt to stop his father, which again helped Gregory in defeating him? Michael helping Gregory defeat William Afton works for his character and makes sense narratively. So with that said, Michael Afton is still alive in Security Breach and co-founded the new Fazbear's Entertainment with his mother, Miss Afton. Things go well until Miss Afton attempts to bring back William Afton through the form of Burntrap. Michael doesn't agree with her or her action and attempts to stop them in the background of Security Breach's gameplay. And with the help of Gregory, they burn down the pizzeria and Burntrap once more, stopping Miss Afton. But this is just a theory. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this theory on why I think Michael Afton is still alive in Security Breach. Now, by no means is this theory perfect, since a lot of it is just assumption, especially since in Fnaf 6 it's insinuated that Michael chose to stay and burn down with the pizzeria by this line.
And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be.
There's also no evidence of him even leaving, and the Afton family isn't hinted at all in FNAF Ruin or Help Wanted 2, which makes me think they're moving away from this family, especially since they've introduced new characters like Cassie and the Mimic. But I still think it's interesting to discuss the possibility that he is alive, since there are a lot of items in the Pizzaplex that relate to him. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thanks for watching.